Hey everybody, welcome back. Today I thought I'd show you how to water glass eggs. Doing a lot better, by the way. So water glassing eggs, what is it? Water glassing eggs is a way to preserve fresh eggs all year long. So you don't have to freeze them, you don't have to cook them, can them, dehydrate them. You can just store your eggs whole, raw, at room temperature, and they will keep for over a year. It's a pretty handy way to preserve them. This is actually an old-time method. When I found out about it a couple years ago, I mentioned it to my grandmother, and she said she could remember people doing it when she was a kid. So, alright, so water glassing eggs. You're going to need hydrated lime. Hydrated lime is the exact same thing as pickling lime. You can also find it in a big 50-pound bag, which is what we got in like a hardware store or agriculture store, because it's used to mix with cements and mortars. So you can get it in the little bags for pickling lime, or you can get it in the big bags. It's generally cheaper to get it in a big bag. I think it's only like 20 bucks or something, or it used to be right around $18, $20 for a 50-pound bag. If I can find any, I will put a link down below for you. But the pickling lime was just like canning lids. It was nowhere to be found, at least last year. Alright, so you're going to need hydrated lime, and then the eggs. The eggs need to be clean, unwashed eggs. Because, I mean, everybody who's had chickens, you get dirty eggs sometimes because, you know, it just happens. Eggs have this natural protective coating referred to as the bloom on the egg. And what this does is it keeps the bacteria from seeping into the pores of the egg. So if you wash your egg, then those pores of the shell are all exposed, and the lime water will seep into the egg, and your eggs will all be spoiled. So you can't do this with store-bought eggs because they're already pre-washed. So this has to be like farm fresh, unwashed eggs, or it's not going to work. And who wants to handle a great big bunch of nasty smelly eggs? Then you're going to need something airtight to keep your eggs in, to store them, just to keep the water from evaporating, because it's important to keep the lime water covering the eggs, to keep them submerged, or they're going to go bad. So you need some kind of an airtight container. I do some in half-gallon jars when I can. It just makes it easier to access, but I also do some in a 5-gallon pail. Also, at the end of this video, I will show you, I've got a water glassed egg here that is a year old, so it's been water glassed for a year, and I thought it'd be fun to crack it open and show you what it looks like after it's been in the lime solution for a year. So what you need to do is you get your fresh, clean, unwashed eggs, and you're just going to put them in whatever container you pick, gently, and just going to fill up this container. Some people mix up the solution first, and put it in a container and then add their eggs. I like to put the eggs in first, because then I know how much solution I need to make. And typically, a half-gallon jar full of eggs with enough, you know, you gotta leave some headspace. But a half-gallon jar, if you mix up 1 quart of solution, it's usually just about right. And I did not grab enough eggs to fill this jar. So I will just continue on with the demonstration to show you, and then later I will add some more eggs. Okay, so we got our eggs in our jar. Next, to make up your lime solution, you need 1 quart of water. Water temperature really doesn't matter, but you don't want to have it like scalding hot because you don't want to cook your eggs. So whether it's cold, lukewarm, doesn't matter. And you're going to want one of these cheap little kitchen scales, just these little digital scales, because you want to measure 1 ounce weight of lime powder per 1 quart of water. So it's 1 ounce by weight for 1 quart of water. So we're gonna weigh this out. Okay. That's not a lot, really. Put you over here. And then I'm just gonna stir this together. This is so easy. It's just so nice to have fresh eggs all winter long. Now you could, I mean, because in the fall when your hens stop laying or slow down a lot, you could just go out and buy eggs at the store. But I mean, the whole point of having, at least for me, the whole point of having chickens, besides just enjoying them, because I enjoy having chickens around, is to have the fresh eggs from happy, healthy chickens that don't spend their whole life in a cage in a building and never see the outdoors. Also, in the wintertime, like the egg factories and stuff, oops, getting a little excited there. The egg factories use artificial light all year long to encourage the chickens to lay eggs during the winter, because the chickens stop laying in the wintertime due to the lack of sunlight, because the sunlight stimulates the pituitary gland in the chicken, which encourages them to lay eggs. And so as the daylight decreases, they slow down and stop laying, which I think is just the way that it was intended. Then they get to rest and recoup, and then they put all that energy into laying eggs in the springtime when the daylight increases again. So I think, in my opinion, healthy, happy chickens, they get their nice break in the wintertime, and you still have fresh eggs if you water glass, and everybody's happy. So now we're just going to take this solution, we're going to pour it over the top of our eggs. I'm going to make sure it covers your eggs. This is really cloudy right now. Later on this is going to settle, and it'll still be somewhat cloudy, but there'll be the powder is going to settle to the bottom, and that's okay. They're still going to be preserved as long as, you know, you mixed 1 ounce per 1 quart of water and they're covered. When you make water glass eggs and you've stored them for quite a while, over time the white and the yolk of the egg will like start to break down. They're not bad, but it doesn't hold up like a fresh egg would. So if you take a water glass egg that's been water glass for a few months and you want to make like a over easy egg, you're probably going to have a really hard time doing that, because it just starts to break down and get a little runny, but it's still good. So we tend to, towards the end of it, after like the first couple months, we just bake them scrambled, or just use them in baking and recipes, and so that's how we use it up. So they just don't make awesome over easy eggs, and towards the end of it it's just like impossible to make an over easy egg with them. Okay, so now I'm going to bring the camera in a little closer and I'll show you this water glass egg that's been water glassed since last May, so a year. Alright, so here's an egg that we've water glassed for a year now. Alright, that's what it looks like. See how it's kind of like pre-scrambled? But it's perfectly fine. It smells fine. It smells great, just like a normal egg should. And it will taste just like a regular egg. So it's not going to like have any weird aftertaste or anything. One more thing I wanted to note about using water glass eggs. Sometimes when you water glass an egg, either you don't notice that there's a little crack in the egg when you first water glass it, or it gets bumped around and you end up with cracked eggs. Excuse me. After you... Oh, my land. Hi. Oh, did you bump your head? Poor thing. And you end up with cracked eggs in there. And when that happens, the egg will go bad. So what I recommend when you're using your eggs that you've water glassed and you're getting ready to make scrambled eggs or, you know, make a recipe or whatever, I suggest always cracking the eggs one at a time into a separate bowl before you add it to whatever you're making. That way, if you come across a bad egg, which probably will happen eventually, that way you don't ruin everything that you're trying to make. So yeah. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it was helpful, and thanks for hanging out with me today, and I'll catch you on the next one.